So I made my first $10,000, or £10,000 because I'm here in the UK, when I was a second-year medical student. And that money genuinely changed my university experience. Before that point, I didn't really have my own money. But suddenly when I made my first 10K, it introduced me to the idea of like how to actually make money properly on the internet. And that has completely changed my life, because then the following year I made like 40K in profit. The following year after that was like 50K in profit. Now it's like business does several million a year in revenue and several million in profit. And all of that really stemmed from the fact that I learned how to make that first 10K as a student. And secondly, it also helped transform my experience of university, because I was able to then use that money to go on holidays and trips and stuff and just not think too hard about the finances. Admittedly, if I'd wanted to, I could have asked my mum for the money and she'd have been like, of course, etc., etc. But there's something about independently earning that money by myself that made me feel this profound sense of empowerment in a way that asking my mum for money really wouldn't have done. So I think for any student watching this, or anyone watching this really, if you haven't yet found a way to make 10K a month on the internet off of your own back, it is a skill that is very learnable, and it is a skill that can massively change your life, which is why I'm making this video. Now, the first thing to say is please don't be intimidated by the figure of 10,000. It sounds like a lot. If you told me when I was 18, 19 years old that I'd be making videos casually teaching people how to make 10K, I'd have thought you were off your rocker, because the most experience I had with money was earning like £15 an hour, which is like $18 an hour, doing private tutoring. But when I learned some of the strategies around how to make money and learned even more of them over the last 10 years, I now look back and I realize, I just had a skewed perspective of money. I was thinking too much in scarcity mindset. I was thinking too much like a teenager for whom like $20 is a lot. When you change the way that you think about how much is a big amount of money, it really changes the energy with which you approach it, and it makes it feel much more doable to actually earn those sorts of sums. So if I could go back in time and give myself advice on how to make the 10,000, here is how I would be thinking about it. You kind of want to begin with the end in mind. So let's say the goal is $10,000. Now, there's broadly two ways to make money doing anything. You can sell products, i.e. goods, or you can sell services. And it's generally worth emphasizing that the way you earn money is by providing value to people who can afford to pay you for that value. Money is simply an exchange of value. So you've got to figure out, how do you add at least $10,000 worth of value to a person or a business or multiple people or multiple businesses. So that's thing number one that I would say. Thing number two I would say is that you can really just work back from the number. So there was actually one day in, I think when I was like a third year medical student, where I actually made 10 grand in a single day. And the way I did that is because I was teaching kids how to get into med school. So I was running a course called the BMAT Crash Course, and we were selling tickets, I think, for £89 or something. And we had 150 people in a lecture theatre. So what is that? So that was £13,000 that I made in a single day, because I managed to get 150 people to pay me £89 to attend this course that I was teaching. It cost me about £10 to sort of print the booklets, and so this ended up being, I don't know, about £1,000 in booklet costs, which took the profit down a bit. I think it cost about 2K to hire the venue. And so actually, I ended up with about £10,000 worth of profit from a single day. This was because I realized I had value to add. I could charge a relatively small amount of money, £89 for that value, but I somehow got 150 people to attend the thing, and therefore was able to make 10,000 a single day. So you can charge a small amount of money to a relatively large number of people in order to make this happen. The other way of going about this, which is in some ways easier, is that you can try and find 5 people to pay you 2 grand. This is actually way easier, and this is probably the advice that I'd give to myself if I were a student trying to make money, is that it's generally very hard to make money by selling to individuals, which is what I was doing here. I had a bunch of different advantages. I've been doing it for 3 years at that point. We had traffic to our website, we had good word of mouth, etc., etc. It's a lot easier to sell £2,000 or $2,000 packages to businesses, and to do that 5 times. So one thing that you might like to think of as a student is, what is the sort of service you can offer to a business that would be worth more than £2,000 to that business? So now we're going to zoom into that. We want to get 5 clients. We just want to get 5 clients paying $2,000, and that is how we're going to make our first $10,000 as a student. So the next question is probably, how the hell do you do that? Now, there are various high income skills that you can learn that would help you actually charge $2,000 to businesses, and just do that 5 times. I've already made a video on those that will be linked up there and down below. It's about things like copywriting, web design, graphic design, consulting for software. But if I were to go back in time and give myself advice, I'd be thinking, firstly, what are the things I'm already good at or already interested in? You ideally want to find that sort of Venn diagram of things that you're good at, things that you enjoy, and things that there is a market need for. In my case, when I was 18, I would have made this money by doing website design. Why? Because I'd been doing website design since the age of 13, and I knew how to code, and I knew how to develop stuff and design stuff, and that was the stuff that I would do in my spare time when I got home from school. That's kind of weird. Most people are not like that. If you have something like that, great, go with that specific thing. In my case, it would have been web design, or it would have been web development, because it's not that hard to find businesses who are willing to pay $2,000 for a website to be designed and developed. It's actually quite a small amount of money in the grand scheme of things. But let's use a different example. I didn't mention this example in my high income skills video, and so we're going to talk about social media management. If you're a student and watching this, you are probably quite good at using social media, in that you understand what Instagram is and TikTok is and how YouTube works, and possibly even how Twitter and maybe LinkedIn works. If you're a student watching this, you've grown up in the age of social media. Most business owners, most people who run businesses, did not grow up in the age of social media because they are old. And so being able to offer social media management as a service to local businesses or online businesses can be a highly valuable thing to do. A local coffee shop probably wouldn't pay $2,000 a month for it, but they might pay $1,000 a month, and then that might be a 12-month contract. And now you've just made 10 grand with a $1,000 a month contract for 12 months. Easy, right? Like it's not too hard to do that. Basically, any local business knows that they want to get more leads, and every local business knows that they should be on social media, but they probably don't know how. So local coffee shops, local restaurants, local accountant services, the local dentist office, the local private practice doctor office. Just look at any business that is within a 3-mile radius of your house or your university or your school, and you can go up to them and you can ask them questions, you can ask them what they're struggling with on a social media front, and you can say, hey, I do this sort of thing. I'd probably recommend starting off doing it for free for your first client and say, hey, I'm a student, I'm looking to get experience, I'd love to do this for free for you. When you do it for free, they'll give you a testimonial, you can turn them into a case study, and now for subsequent clients you can say, hey, look, this is what I did for this coffee shop over here, and here's what they said, and here's how much value they got from it, and this is how many followers they gained on Instagram, and this is what they said it did for their business. Would you like the same sort of thing? And now it's relatively straightforward to find you just 5 clients paying $2,000, or just find one client who's willing to pay you $1,000 a month. And as a student, imagine getting $1,000 a month to manage a coffee shop or restaurant's Instagram account. That's life-changing money. That completely changes the game if you had an extra $1,000 a month kicking around. But the point to reiterate is that you really want to find this Venn diagram. What am I good at? What do I enjoy? And what is there a market need? If you feel like you're not good at anything, you're probably wrong. You probably are good at stuff, but you can just learn stuff. If you suck at literally everything, you can just learn. So find something that you think you might enjoy, that you think there's a market need for. If you spend a lot of time on social media, which you probably do if you're a student, social media management is a relatively straightforward way of doing this. But then once you've made that money, then you might want to manage it with a service like Trading212, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Trading212 is a fantastic app that I personally use that lets you invest in stocks and shares without any commission. In particular, they have a new Cash ISA, which is paperless. It offers the highest annual percentage yield on the market. It's also FSCS protected up to £85,000 if you're here in the UK, and it's completely free to use. Both the Cash ISA and the Stocks and Shares ISA are flexible, which means you can withdraw from it and return money to it freely within the tax year without impacting your ISA allowance. They also have a new Trading212 card that gives you one... Now at this point, whenever I talk about this advice in like talks and stuff that I give to students, people are always like, how could I possibly charge a business $1,000 a month? Because you are thinking like a consumer. You're thinking like a normal person. Normal people don't pay $1,000 a month for anything, but businesses really do. It's really useful to understand that businesses value money in a ridiculously different way compared to individuals. And it can be so hard to appreciate that up front. You kind of have to see it enough times to believe that that's a thing. So, essentially, this is what I would do. I would start off by doing it for free for a single client. You have no business charging anyone for anything if you can't give it away for free and provide value. I think this is one of the issues with all this sort of get-rich-quick shit that you see online. It's often around trying to, I guess, swindle people out of their money and sort of provide a bit of a substandard service. But really, you want to be able to do the thing for free and add so much value, that the business owner or the person that you're speaking to feels so indebted to you. Oh my God, you've done such a good job that I almost feel bad that you did this for free. They will give you an absolutely glowing testimonial. So you start off by doing it for free. And then you think, okay, well, I gave this much value away for free. And you ask that person that you did it for free, how much would you have paid for this? I mean, I did it for you for free, but like, how much would you have paid? Or how much do you think I could charge another coffee shop or another restaurant? And they might say, well, maybe you could charge, I don't know, $300 a month. And then you're like, really? $300 a month? They pay $300 a month for social media? They're probably like, yeah, they probably would. So then you go to a restaurant and you see if you can charge $300 a month. And you say that with confidence, and you say that with conviction, and if you need help, you can read books like $1 Million Weekend, which I have a video about. You can watch videos on how to do sales, but really it's not that hard. You just pitch it. And if you pitch it enough times, and if you aim to get rejected like 20 times, I can 100% guarantee you're going to land at least one client. The goal is to aim for rejection. And you get one client at $300 a month. And again, you give them so much value. Where they're like, holy shit, what a steal, $300 a month. And then they're like, can you keep working with me? This is amazing, I want to keep going. And then you're like, yeah, of course, I'll keep you at $300 a month. But to be honest, I was thinking of increasing my prices to $500 a month, but I'll keep you at $300 a month if you can give me a referral. So do you have any other friends who run businesses who might need my social media management services? Now, most entrepreneurs have a network of friends who are also entrepreneurs. So if you get in with one of them and you provide so much value, by referral, you're then going to start landing other clients. Now that restaurant owner might say, oh yeah, actually my brother runs the local dental practice and they always complain about how they can't get enough leads and blah, 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 and they wish they had someone young on their team who could manage social media. So then you go to that person's brother and you pitch $500 a month. And you aim to get rejected 20 times and you're guaranteed to land at least one client. And over time, you just sort of start laddering your way up. Also, by giving so much value, your goal should essentially be to give them so much value, to provide so much value that they feel like they're getting a bargain for $500 a month. Again, like if I was a student and someone had told me this, $500 a month, like how can anyone possibly pay it? It must be a scam. You do this enough times and you realize actually $500 a month is literally nothing to a business that's making decent amounts of money. Our business does $5 million a year in revenue. $500 a month doesn't even register in our profit and loss. There are lots of businesses doing more than that, lots of businesses doing at least 6 or 7 figures a year in revenue. Those are the sorts of businesses who don't really care about $500 a month, especially if they can land more customers as a result of that spend. If, for example, you're a medical practice and you do private surgeries, private consultations, you probably make more than $500 for a single consultation. So in your 30 days of Instagram or TikTok posting for that medical practice, if you can just give them one more client, they're probably ROI positive. Any more clients beyond that, and they're laughing all the way to the bank, which is exactly what you want. You want to provide more value than you charge for, and over time, as you ladder up your prices, you realize, oh, actually I do have value. You feel very empowered as an individual and as an entrepreneur, because that's what you are at this point, and you just keep on increasing the prices until you make so much money that it makes you question what the meaning of money actually is, to quote Alex Hormozy. So, by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, then you'll absolutely love my book, Feel Good Productivity. It's about how to be more productive in a way that actually feels good. You can apply it to your studies if you're a student, or if you're not a student, you can apply it to your business, and it'll basically teach you how to be more productive in a way that's actually enjoyable, meaningful, and sustainable. So you can check that out. It is available everywhere books are sold. Final thing to reinforce is that this is accessible to literally anyone. Maybe if you're in a country where $10,000 is a lot of money and business can't afford $10,000, then okay, maybe you might have to adjust the numbers based on your own country's purchasing price parity and stuff. But if, for example, you're in the UK, US, Canada, Germany, almost any European country, $10,000 is very, very, very achievable as a student. And you realize once you get there that, oh, this wasn't that hard, and you start thinking about 100,000 and you start thinking about 1 million. I've been in this game now for like 10 plus years. I've been making money on the internet since the age of 18. I've just turned 30 and I've made over 15 million online in that time. And so now looking back at my student years and how I kind of thought, oh my God, I feel so bad charging £50 million for this course that I'm doing, and how I just didn't realize that you could charge money to businesses. I'm just like, oh, I missed such a trick there. I was so focused on thinking like a consumer. I had so much imposter syndrome around charging money. It was all kind of completely unnecessary. And now, 12 years since I started university, there is so much information online. There are so many books out there about how to make money. There are so many books about how to build businesses, how to learn these high-income skills. There are so many YouTube videos from people like me and so many others about how to do this stuff. And it can be so easy to be like, oh, it's just a scam. But there are people who are teenagers who are making $10,000 a month doing social media management as a service, or doing web design or web development. This is a thing. People are doing it. Real people just like you are doing this sort of stuff. It's not that hard, but it does feel like a genuine black box when you don't know how the game looks and how things work. So if you're interested in learning more about this stuff, you should check out this video over here, which is about the high income skills that students should learn. And you can just pick one of those, and I guarantee if you just pick that skill, learn it, and try and sell it to businesses, you'll be making at least $10,000 as a student. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you got some value out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.